Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to my Wednesday at 3 p.m. EST. Will you give me a reading? Where I discuss all things tarot and divination related, including my very, very special guest today.
Thank
And
you.
yes, well, there's Nancy Antenucci, and we're going to talk about Nancy's new book, just came out, called Tarot Rituals. So I hope that you guys are along for the ride because it is going off. So hey, what's
Hi,
up?
girl.
Hi, how are you?
We should tell the audience though that you and I are like really good friends. So
Yeah, we're like little buddies,
we're like,
for sake of
I have a story. Okay, I have a story right away. Talk about ritual. I have a
yeah.
story that Jenna, I was what I called a ghost tour. I was doing a ghost tour. I was going back to this time in my life and I was going to just recapture all those times I was really afraid or falling apart or, I mean, it was I wanted my ghost because I'm getting older now and I need the energy of that 20-year-old. And so frankly, a lot of that 20-year-old energy was like, yeah, so I thought, I don't care, I'm doing it. Well, there was one relationship in particular that really opened a plethora of ghosts, and even before I went to the relation, even before I met up, I told Jenna I kept getting the devil every time I was looking at this relationship. So she said, "Hey, let's do a little reading about this, And we were outside, and it was beautiful and sunny and windy and everything. And she was pulling cards, and this one card just took up into the sky, and we were running. We were running around trying to get it, and it was the devil. I was like, oh my God! So we were chasing the devil, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened with the relationship.
Yeah. It was it was like we were right off of the Schuylkill River,
Yeah.
and the deck was in my hand, your hand, one of our, we were holding it,
Yeah.
and just one card flipped off and then flew off, no other cards, and we had to run and chase it so it wasn't going to actually fall into the river, and it was a double card. And I remember when we turned it over, I think we screamed.
Oh, we scream because I mean, synchronicity is it's the magic, when synchronicity starts happening, it's like, pay attention.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was an incredible moment, but I mean,
Yeah, that bonded us.
woo,
It was like,
yeah,
okay, all right
yeah.
then.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap. Well, not only is this not a good idea, maybe, or it could be if you want that energy. But isn't it
Yeah.
funny how the universe finds a way to tell you whether you're looking for it or not? Like, you know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
honestly, if I had to do it again with all the things that I learned, I'd do it again. I'd do it all the same way, because and I actually do have a new appreciation of the devil card now too, because I think the devil sometimes is about, what are you afraid to feel? What are
Mhm.
you not facing? What are you oppressing that was oppressed in you? Like, now you're the oppressor's always oppress. Like, it's human nature.
Oh no. I we have lost your audio. I heard it go real and then it. So while
Oh, yeah. Does that
there
work?
you are. Yeah, perfect.
Sorry about that.
No, go back like 2 sentences. What were you
Um,
saying? I was like, we lost 2 sentences ago.
yep.
You
Oh,
were doing well.
that the oppressed, when eh, I had a lot of internalized ways of oppressing myself that I didn't know. I did not know, and boy, oh boy, did I find out, and it was like, good. There's only one way to liberate yourself, and that's to actually know your devils.
Ain't that the
So,
truth? And
yeah, you
also,
got to
like,
know them.
I think, and also like there's that devil as addiction or an addict quality, and
Mhm.
addictions happen often because it's like, oh, I don't want to feel these feelings. They suck. So
Right.
I'm going to do something that's going to make me feel a little better. Hey, Jonathan. Nice to see you. Hey, everyone who's tuning in. We've got the slow trickle in, but yeah, the ways that we are masking ourselves from truly feeling. But I think I love the way you said that the way that we are also the oppressors too.
Yep.
Um, and I think that's such an important thing where it's like when we're doing readings, we can't always see ourselves through the framework of we're the victim and the things are happening to us, that we
Right.
are also victimizing others. But we have to watch for that, because if I'm always like the innocent person, then I may read all these other cards as other people when they could actually be me,
Right.
and how I'm like influencing others in an
Absolutely.
unmindful or unconscious way.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
So I just got back from where I wrote most of the book. I would go to a friend's farm that's about an hour away from Twin Cities, and I realized it actually is my monastery. Like there's a big bell on the kitchen table, and I would actually ring the bell 3 times during the Vespers. I still do that, even if I'm not writing, oh, it's morning Vesper time, afternoon Vesper time. I mean, I am a Catholic girl gone wild, because I've always loved church rituals. I love the incense. I loved the 10 stations of the cross. God, talk about drama, and it was, I didn't like a lot of other things about the church, but when it came to the rituals of it, it, and even the idea of Sundays, like Sundays to me were like a reset. I wasn't even listening to half the stuff they were talking about, but I did feel better after church, meaning it felt like I was starting new for the week. And so I started doing that with my cards. I just have this one deck I use, and I place every Sunday, I place them in specific positions that have an energy flow in my house. And it
Mm.
feels just as good as church. It's like
Mm.
I'm getting, and I look at the past week and I went, yep, what the hell? What's that? I don't know what that ever meant, but I shuffle them real good, and then I regrid.
So do you put the cards if in the physical locations in the
Yeah.
house, like almost like the Stations of the Cross
Yeah.
kind of thing? So can you explain what the Stations of the Cross is really quickly for people that were not
Yeah.
raised?
It was the narrative of really the torture and death of Jesus,
And it's like a
and
procession, right? So you go
yeah,
through
his
like
whole bringing the cross up to the hill and the whole torture.
but with
It,
the processions of the cross though, they're like places within the church you have to move to, right? It's like moving
Oh, yeah,
around.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
would they would have them around, and mostly you would just face them. Everybody in the church would face them, but the
Oh.
priest would go up to each one of them and have this big incense burner that would clang, you know.
Got it. Got it. Got
I
it.
was always very frustrated priest. I knew I was never gonna be a priest in my church, and then when I grew up, I wanted to be a Jesuit. Well, that's never gonna happen either. So it's just kinda like, "Wait a minute."
Well,
You
you
know
know what? That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I was not raised Catholic.
Mhm.
I was raised Baptist, but not really secular, really.
Uh-huh.
Like, and so, as coming from a Baptist, there is really not much ritual at all, and there's not any mysticism at all. Like it's all been stripped from that, which is
Right.
probably why I was like, bye. Excuse me if anyone's Baptist, but I was like, bye.
Yep.
Hey, Marion. It's good to see you.
I
Um,
remember the first time I walked into a Lutheran church, and there's not many Lutheran churches from central Pennsylvania where I'm from. It's Catholic or Jewish, period, or maybe a Protestant church here and there, but I didn't know any of them. So, when I came to a Lutheran is huge in the Twin Cities, and I walked in and there was no dead body on the cross. There was no, I just said, holy crap, they cleaned up all the blood.
Where's
The,
all the blood? Yeah.
the blood, but
Yeah. Well,
where's,
as a non-Catholic person, I mean, I worked for 5 or 6 years for a Jesuit university, and I ended up going to Bolivia with them and getting to know a lot of priests and stuff. And I came away with a really healthy appreciation of like ritual and like magic. I was like, Catholicism is magical. And then I'm taking I'm doing 2 tours to Ireland this year.
oh my God.
Yeah. And it's just like you go into these places, and like these places that have like Bridget's Sacred Well. So it's like sacred from a Catholic perspective, but then you have the drumbeat of that much older energy just like infusing.
That's
And
right.
it's like this mashup that's just wild to me.
Oh,
Wild to me. So yeah, I can get that tangentially, like that ritual, but coming back to your book though, like you, to me, you were like, there was no one else who could really do this tarot rituals book because of your background in ritual making, and also the kind of that rituals are part of you and a part of your life, whether that's like performance is ritual, or like performance and ritual. Is there really a difference, and how that's just so endemic to how you access the connection to the beyond the ordinary.
yeah.
So, and that was the thing that I said in my review, was like, this is not someone who just said, oh, I have this idea that I think is going to sell. This is someone who, this is who they are. And this is an expression of who they've endemically been. So I guess that's going to take me to my first question.
Uh-oh.
Chris remembers Stations across the incense. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your rituals background, of like how that has been part of your life so far.
I think a huge component of I love my body, not like how it looks, but like it's my horse. And I don't really trust what people say. I grew up in a Catholic background. There were lots of nuns and priests. You really learned quickly not to trust what you were actually hearing and had to trust what you were sensing. So dance really is a nonverbal. It's nonverbal. And I have the same with tarot. I don't read books and books and books about tarot. That would bore the crap out of me. It's the colors of it. It's nonverbal. It's pictures. So it's just all imagery, whether that imagery is like a snapshot or a movie. And that's how I actually love processing life, is not non-verbally, although I'm an uber communicator, but that's where ritual came, was that kind of non-verbal. And to be honest with you, and it was frustrating as a dancer. They don't want to hear what you have to say. They just want you to hit the pose, and that was hard for me to just, like, for years being nonverbal, mute. So everything had to come out through gestures or body. And yeah, that's really kind of where. Plus, I just think I do love life. I do, and it's a good thing, because right now it's like, boy, it's like there's, I went away to the monastery or the farm I just was at, and I was just doing this deep, just, where am I right now? Because the book came out, and I didn't realize it until I reread it. Damn, this is personal. I was like, you think that would have dawned on me before publishing it?
Let it all out, guys.
Like, you're in your thing. You don't even think about,
Yeah.
that it's actually pretty vulnerable, but I don't care, because people don't actually have to do my ideas. It's like, to me, it's like, here are some ideas. What would you do if you were a teacher, or if you're leading 3 people that just love tarot, but no one knows anything about it? Good.
Yeah.
Let's just play. Let's have a sandbox. So
Yeah.
I just want people to just play with life and play with tarot in a way that is powerful for them. And the
Yes.
only way to show them that was to show them what I do.
Right. Well, and also, I do love that, like, last chapter is like, now it's your turn, basically. Now this is for you. What are you going to create? I think you and I are similar. Like, when I teach tarot or tuition or whatever, I'm really like the goddess of Ish. Like, ish, feel it. So when I get students that are much more detail oriented, I think they get frustrated with me because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to spell that out. Like ish, I'm going to give you the region. Here's the region I want you to be in, and let's see what you
Yeah.
do. And that can be panic inducing for some types of learners.
Oh,
For me, it's like, give
yeah.
me enough ish, and I'm going to run with that,
Right. Right. And I knew, see, my first book those were things I taught for 30 years. I knew by how they landed on other people, just kind of some real basic things that I knew would work. I didn't question it. It was like, well, I know it works because it worked for my students. This book, however, is like, I haven't even told people about half of these things, much less teach them. I had to kind of go, okay, what would be the name of this? It was like coming up with recipes that you just cook naturally. It's like, okay, now I have to work backwards. Okay, what ingredients am I putting into this? That was fun and exciting. But again, when I went to the farm and I just went, oh, Lordy, what did I do? I feel like, why don't I just take the clothes off and run down Highway 94? Because that's pretty much what I just did. But I thought, goddess or my source or however, whatever. I call her goddess or earth. Whatever you call love, you call it. And I just said, what do I need to know? And she said, well, honey, you're scared. And so is everybody. So make scared into sacred. All you have to do is switch a couple letters. That's all you have to do. Reposition yourself to be sacred. So that, again, that's why I'm hoping my book would kind of instigate more people to step up and be leaders and teachers, because then I think tarot is just a magnificent tool in decreasing fear and increasing love. It's my favorite tool to do that, so hopefully.
Yeah, well, that bringing you back to like how that shows up in the book, like you also have a huge chapter just on like group work and like how to lead groups with tarot rituals and also how to perform ceremonies. To like, could someone maybe call, I am a tarot ritualist as a result of working through your book? I mean, I'm really curious to see what this is going to springboard for others.
Oh, sure. God. Yeah, that is cool. At least more teachers, because there are people that just aren't, they just need the process of somebody with them. So it's, and there's that old saying, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go further, go with others. And I do feel like
wisdom, y'all.
I don't know. Tarot is ready to go with others. It's such a solitary thing. And I feel like, God, with the way the world, there's great things and there's bad things, and don't look up. But still, how can we use tarot in a way that would be more community inducing or inclusive or, empower others? Like when they tell you, a lot of chanting, they do that in a group because it's 10 times stronger if you do it with a group. The energy you raise is better. So yeah, the group stuff was, I thought, do I really need to? And I thought, yeah, who taught me? No one. You know who taught me? Bad teachers. I'd sit there and go, okay, note to self, don't do that. Like I really learned a lot from like and a lot of other people are into this style. We're all different kinds of learners when you come down to it. So you're going to find the style that you flow with. Yeah. But I'll tell you, when I see a teacher get up there and read from something the entire time, I'm like, get me out of here. I don't want, no, I could have read it. Yeah. Like do something with that I can't get on my own from a PDF.
Yes.
As a teacher. So now teachers have to be kind of performers a little bit. You got to
make it come alive, because then what's the point? I can just go read it myself, right? Like you said.
Yeah.
So Marion asks, has the book been released yet?
Yes.
It's on. It is. Is it live now? It should
Yeah.
be, right? Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
couple days ago it went live, right? Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. I think starting the 9th, it started going out.
Oh, no, on the 9th? Oh gosh, man,
Yeah.
it's like a whirlwind of days. Okay, well, let me go through my little questions here.
Your little questions.
Let me
They're
do
little.
questions. I think we just kind of, well, like, it's like we just did the second question naturally, which was like, how do you envision people using this book?
Yeah.
And I think you just did that. Three of Cups, Danielle, hello. What do you, yes, okay. Now this is the question for you. What do you say to those who are too shy or too awkward to create, or maybe they're like, well, like, I don't know, like maybe they don't want to create ritual or they feel shy to actually do it. What would you say to those people?
Well, you know what really comes to mind is, well, how do you hear God? You don't have to do a ritual with anyone else.
Mm.
It's just between you and, or, your inner wisdom, that bigger wisdom or love. That communication is a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
So if you formalized it a little bit, then the radio signal gets better. Then you're kind of hitting the same dial. Then you're getting more information. Not only information, but connected. You feel loved. And I don't even know if this is going to be that big of a deal or not, but I came up with this. When I was a young teacher, someone came up to me and just said, so basically, you're just making all this up. And I said, you're right. But isn't this all made up? I mean, our body as spirits, and we're going to keep living. And I do believe that. And if I'm wrong there, I don't care. Let me be wrong, but I think spirit is eternal. So this whole thing is makeup. This is all pretending. We all are one. We're all one source of love. It's just, we've decided to, go a little microcosm with all this. So it is pretend. And so I called it the power of pretend. You actually don't have to believe an ultimate love. You can pretend there's an ultimate love. And guess what? It still happens. So I don't care how you get to the moon, as long as you get to the moon. So I don't know. That might be kind of one of those things that you never know. You know what was so weird with the first book, Psychic Tarot? What really shocked me was the thing that people really grabbed onto was the chapter on boundaries. And that was a throwaway chapter for me. I was just like, oh, you know what? I should probably say something about healthy boundaries. And that got so much feedback.
That's interesting. Thank you for that. That is like in the book that I'm doing. I don't mean to I'm talking about your book. We're talking about a book.
I know you have a book coming out.
That was a huge subsection within my first new chapter.
It needs to be.
What does it mean to be a good reader outside just reading cards? And one of them was boundaries work. One of them was empathy. And then the third one was how you handle criticism. And if healthy with those three things, you're going to be fabulous.
That's right. I would throw in a sense of humor, but
yes.
I've met quite a few good readers that have no sense of humor whatsoever. So I can't say that. I mean, they're still really good.
Or I think there's this thing too, like with sense of humor, because I'm pretty funny too. Like in my newsletters and stuff, I'm always like cracking jokes. And I'm like, if you're looking for like the guru lady on the mountain who's just so like at one with the universe and that I'm never going to crack a joke, then you're in the wrong place, honey. Because
no,
laughter is a part of this medicine.
I know, and There was a teacher once or she was reading for me, and she was just doing pure chakras, and she sat across the room. So she was like about 5 feet away from me, but her eyes were closed and she had a big glass of water next to her. And I was sitting on a couch and she was reading my chakras. And this was, oof, Lord, like 30 years ago. And it was all new to me. That was a lot of new stuff to me. And I loved it. And she just started, had her eyes closed and she started laughing and she goes, boy, you love paradox. That is why you love being on this planet. And she was talking about that, and her old cat came up, drank from the water, and went over to the fireplace and peed. Oh, God, she couldn't see any of it. I was like, what is going on here? The cat is peeing. And then she opened her eyes like, what the hell is going on?
It's all sacred. It's all absurd. It's all real. It's all of it.
It's all of that. It's mystery.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not about solving mystery. It's about how can I dance with my mystery? How can I be in mystery? I don't need any of your permission to figure out how I love to do mystery.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting you say that, because I think a lot of people come to tarot, whether they're reading for themselves or they're getting a reading, is they want the mystery to be resolved. Resolve my mystery. Resolve what's going to happen. You know, and I know that you know exactly what I mean when you do a reading for someone and it comes up like ask again later. Kind of, it's like, we're not going to answer this for you. And you're just like, well, you know, the universe doesn't want to tell you. You are intentionally being held in mystery.
Yes.
Because that's the work. But it can be so uncomfortable. And we're also used to.
You know what they show me? They show me a blueprint, because the first time that ever happened to me, like this client and I were so close to cracking the code, you know, whatever that code, I forget what it was about. And they showed me this image of a blueprint, and they said, if we unrolled this blueprint and you could see everything perfectly, the both of you would have no idea what we're talking about. So shut up. You know, they roll the blueprint back up and brought it up. And when I see the blueprint, I go, honey, you wouldn't even understand the blueprint if we got to look at it. You know, because honestly, really, I mean, now it's more real, because it's like, now you can look at people and go, did anyone think the world was going to break in 2 years ago? The whole world broke. The world broke. You know, that's mysterious. I mean, it's horrible too, but there's another part of it. It's like, oh, damn, honey, like anything could happen.
Yeah, totally. You know, it's just I just love that. And I think that's like coming back to your book, there is so much in that the ritual stuff where it is about embracing the mystery, that we're not just using tarot to be like, oh, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, and you know, but that we can use it as a tool to honor, to cherish, to call attention towards, to bring closer,
to see what the possibilities are. What if when I go to this restaurant, I only eat this. Well, why don't you read the menu? You know, there might be 4 or 5 other things that you might really want to eat. You don't even know what you're hungry for.
You don't even know what you're hungry for. Yeah.
I know a lot better after the devil. Kicked my ass for 2 years. I have a order at the menu now, you know, but
should I turn this into a red light over here? That is a whole other session that we can totally do.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
which, by the way, those are my least favorite kind of readings, and they don't happen very often. And in fact, when they do happen, I have to go into some deep spiritual hygiene work, because there's holes in the fence, you know, and that is where someone doesn't say anything and just wants me to read at them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, hey, hold on for a minute. I'm going to get my dentist tools, because that's what it feels like. I feel like I'm pulling teeth here. It's like, come on, people, it's a co-creation. Let's just tell me what's up. and then I can go in deep, but there's lots of readers who are like, don't tell me anything and let me go in. That's valid, but boy, is that not me.
Right.
No.
Right. I want to come back. You always say the most profound things, and they're also like throwaway lines. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I want to come back to what you just said, the holes in the fence comment.
Yeah.
Like that there's holes in your fence, which is why this is coming through to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit more.
Well,
I think that's fucking
what
brilliant.
you get, what you are attracting, you're on some level, you're magnifying it. Now, okay, I got to put a little caveat around this because I think there's something that happens with New Age that happened with Catholic, which is guilt. So no, people don't get cancer because they called it in. We don't know enough about how all of us works with all of the universe. So please don't tell me you thought it, now you got it. I hate that bullshit.
Yeah.
That's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
It's guilt. What am I supposed to do with that? But when it comes to daily, interactions and relationships and things, it's that you are a co-creator. Your energy is calling. And when I get somebody who's entitled, arrogant, and just wants me to read for them, I better check my entitlement and arrogance, and that usually grows when I don't meditate. That's I have an easy solution for that. Just start meditating every night. It's,
or raise your rates. That's usually raise your rates. Raise your rates. That'll stop.
No, actually, the ones that are entitled and arrogant for me often have a lot of money. So it's
Oh yeah, well that doesn't mean that those are the ones that are going to pay for those raised rates. It's about the value that they see and how they want to come to it. To me, yeah.
Well, we're all that's a part about being a diviner. I think you really do need to know what your own spirit. You're not pure. You're not holy. You're not fixing people. You are witnessing. You are listening. Yeah. And you're reflecting as best you can. For me, that's like, if I can be a beautiful mirror and help. And the paradox, see, I'm always looking for my attachment to it is, oh God, that's so crazy. What was your past life and now what are you doing? I love paradoxes. Like a lot of people, even if I'm not reading for them, I always kind of think about what did they do in the past life that they're doing what they're doing now.
Have you ever had a chance to? I was talking to Rachel Pollack about paradox, and like talking about time specifically. And she turned me on to her comic series. She did like 5 comic books in the 90s called Time Breakers.
Oh,
totally. You guys get it because it is like you can find them on eBay nowadays, but it's about like the premise was this: what if paradox is what actually keeps all this going? Like the tension that keeps it all turning, and the whole comic, the narratives is really about these groups called the time breakers. They have to break time. They have to create paradox because it keeps it all going. And then you have these other guys that are like the determinists. And they're like, no, you can't do that. Like, God wants it all to be like this. Like, you would love it. I mean, just someone who values paradox.
Totally.
I really recommend that her comic series. It's called Time Breakers, guys. It's like came out like 95, I think.
Okay. I gotta check that out.
Yeah. It's awesome. But yeah, it's like when you're talking about that, I agree. It's like that again, the ish piece, like ish, like yes until it's not.
Right.
This is the rule until it's not the rule. And then when I have clients that know enough about tarot, they're like, and I'm like, do you have any questions? Well, what is that card? It's reversed. What does that card mean in that position? I'm like, oh, so the thing about me is like I don't read like in lockstep necessarily. Like
Oh,
this
God.
part
I
it
had,
mean this and it means this. It's like,
right. Well, they wanted to understand and I had a client who did that, was like, no, and where did you get that from? And everything. I said, okay, we could go two ways here. We could see this as a symphony, and I will tell you how each card plays as an instrument and the sound it makes and everything. Or we could have me sing the song for you,
yeah.
and you don't have to understand the instruments. And I would highly suggest plan B, because that way you're going to get a lot of information. The first way, you're trying to learn as we go, and you don't
Right.
have
Or maybe even like a fear that maybe there's just some info that's there that maybe we're not telling them or we're forgetting. Like I think it can be about control, not in a bad way, but just like I want to make sure I'm understanding everything. But when we're looking at the intuitive, my biggest insights come from what's between the cards. And I
right.
can't tell you how I got there.
Exactly. And
So
that's exactly why a lot of readers will not claim a psychic moniker, nor do they have to, but even intuitive. They really, and there's two kinds of astrologers. There's the ones that stay and look at the chart, and the other ones who can kind of see how this might dance out in bigger patterns. I'm way more interested in the second one.
yeah, I'm a real systems thinker. I'm all about systems. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
dance and the influence and the patterns. So, Marianne, just to kind of, so we got some chitter chatter happening.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan says he loves diving deeper into mystery without looking for an answer or getting more questions as an answer to my question.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally.
100%. 100% on that
If
one.
we're not attached to the outcome, something bigger than you can imagine can come.
So what I talk about there's a part of my book I talk about where I've seen cards be intentionally wrong for people. Whatever we call this mystery, I've seen them give a wrong answer on purpose. And I only could see that because I'll see clients over time and be like, oh my God, you were told something different because it actually eventually led you to where you needed to be or
Absolutely.
where part of your soul wanted to go. But if it was accurate, it would have actually thrown you off that path. It's wild.
Oh God, I had a person she needed to be on city council. The cards were so honest. I would have laid money on this. There was no subtlety. The cards were like, yes, yes, do this. We have you. You'll win. She didn't win. And she lost it on me, and I didn't know how. I was younger then, a much younger reader, so you're allergic to disappointment, which I say, hey, younger ones, just let that one go right now. You're definitely going to disappoint people. But I laid the cards, and they said, after she got done yelling at me, I just laid the cards like, why the hell would you do that to me? Why, and the card said, 3 years from now, she's going to be ready to do it. But if she didn't take a leap at it now, she wouldn't have been ready.
Yeah.
And I said, so you guys are basically going to use me sometimes. And they said, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's such a good example. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just crazy. But like you said, that leads me to another point, which is client feedback or querent feedback is not the best feedback in terms of whether you're being a good reader or not. Because oftentimes it's through the lens of, did I hear what I wanted to hear? Or did I feel good from the reading? Did I get what I wanted out of the reading? And that's not the same as being like just masterfully conducting a beautiful reading for someone. That's like asking, I mean, their feedback of course is important, but it shouldn't be the only end all be all piece of feedback in terms of your practice as a reader, because often, they're just looking through that lens, but not through the technique that got us there, or
Right.
what you saw, or how these cards spoke to each other. So I always say that, like you said, like, get used to disappointment,
Did you ever,
the,
you've watched the movie Red Violin, right?
no, what is that? No,
Oh,
I don't think so.
oh my God, Jenna, the whole thing is based on a tarot reading.
Oh,
This
really?
movie.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So I can't really say much because I am totally gonna, yeah.
we'll
But
come
all I
back.
can say is I always go back to the Red Violin, which is this woman does the most amazing tarot reading, and it kind of narrates vignettes in the movie.
Oh,
And
cool.
I've got to tell you, I thought, now in real life, at the end of that movie, that person would have stood up and said, "Give me my money back. I have no idea what you were talking about." Because yeah, it's hard to explain, but
I'll check
it
it
was,
out. I'll check
it
it
was
out for sure.
a herb reading. And
Yeah.
I think, I don't know what the fuck or excuse me, I don't know what I'm talking about here. And it's like, I go to the Red Violin, it's just like, it's trust sometimes. It's just utter trust that
That's
you are
such a
giving
good
a message.
point. Yeah. I know we've got some chitter chatter in the comments. We're talking about, you know, charging what you're worth, or who's going to show up and value what you have. So I'm really loving this conversation. It's like side conversation that's happening in the comments.
Oh, good.
But wait a minute, we got to talk about your book some more. I know I get so
Okay.
excited every time I
I don't go everywhere. But
is there so can you speak about the writing slash download process that you underwent
yeah,
through the making of this book?
yeah, the table of contents was everything. It's like the spine.
Mhm.
So when I finally could figure out the table, first of all, I had to just go through bins of different rituals I've done. It was like, I've never done this before. Like, I've never coalesced all this stuff. So I had to figure out what I really wanted to bring forward, what was worth repeating, what isn't. And then I came up with a table of contents, and that felt like the spine. It's just like, oh, okay, because that didn't really change that much. The table of contents didn't. And I have to write longhand. I can't write onto a computer. I need a pencil. And I'd have 8 pencils with a pencil sharpener and an eraser, because I love erasing, so I don't like crossing or deleting. I like erasing. So it's a very visceral thing for me. Writing is very visceral. I would come up with an idea. Oh God, there's nothing hard. Oh, it's hard to look at a blank page. You're just like, I'm not a writer. That's in the back of my head. I'm not a writer, and it's like, no, you know what? I'm pretty sure every writer has this kind of feeling when they look at a blank page, so you just have to like throw mud on the wall and start, just like, okay, I'm just going to do. I always usually imagine one person that I am talking to, and not talking down at, or not talking at, talking to, like if you and I were in a classroom together, this is me trying to tell you in words. And it also helped me to let things cook. So I would write a draft that felt really good, and then just keep going. But and they always tell you, don't edit as you go along. No, get your draft out and then go back and edit. And I'm like, screw it, man. I like to fix this thing right now. I don't want to, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to make sense, and then keep going, and then let that chapter cook while I was working on the next chapter. But then I would go back to this one and go, wow, that's great. What the hell am I talking about there? So it was really helpful to get some distance from things too. I think the best revision of the book happened it's like 2 months after having the whole book turned into Llewellyn, and and
You too, huh? Jesus.
Yeah, when I got it back, I was like, we got to change that. We got to fix that, and
Yeah. So we've only got like 15 minutes left. I mean, we just blew past 45 minutes of hanging out, which is like no time at all. So I wanted to give those of you that are listening in the comments, if you have a question for Nooch,
yeah.
definitely like type it in. We do have one from Susan Mellinger or Mellinger. Sorry if I'm butchering that. She's not a tarot reader and she's not sure what we mean or what you mean by tarot ritual. Please give her an example. So what would be like a, one sentence, what is a tarot ritual? That's a good place to start.
So tarot is a language of imagery, and ritual is the action. It's a non-verbal, well, it can be verbal, but here's the best way I can describe this. When you go to theater and you're sitting there and then all the lights go off and the curtains close, this is ritual. We're entering a different time zone. We're pretending another world is happening. We're going to open our rational mind and let the liminal come in.
Oh no, we've lost your audio again. Oh no. So tarot ritual too is like just a practice of using tarot as a tool to create the performance connection. I would say that. Go ahead. Sorry.
So you can hear me. It's suspending disbelief. You're letting go of reality, logical reality, and you can use the cards either to lead. They can be the ritual themselves. You could do the ritual and the cards come in and inform you what the divine is saying to you. They could be road posts. So throughout the book, a simple spread to me is a ritual. Like you're doing something. Ritual is anything we repeat. It's a form that you would repeat. So like, and when you add that to tarot, it's the nonverbal part of that can the image, the language of imagery and the dance of symbolic action together. That's the elevator pitch, it just like, it's the imagery. Tarot is a language of images. It is 78 images. It is imagery. And then ritual is symbolic action. So when you put those together, it creates new perceptions. That's all it really does. And those new perceptions create new realities. And those new realities we need real bad right now. This isn't about just us becoming better readers. This is us like, God, witching the fuck up here, because we really need new thinking. We need new perceptions. We need people that can work alone and with others in a far, far more potent, loving, magical way. So that's what I'm trying to just give you ideas in the book, whether you read tarot or not. I actually think people that are really into theater or ritual or things like that would really get a lot from the book, even if they're not into tarot.
So I have a follow-up question for you. Can someone who's very new to tarot use tarot rituals?
Absolutely. Although you will probably go slower with it, because you do need, it does help to have a working alphabet for the tarot yourself. But I also in the book I devote a whole thing to you finding your own tarot language. So it's worth that.
Mm-hmm. So Marion asks the question, when you decide to do a ritual, do you know what you're going to do beforehand, or do you go by instinct?
You know what? My battery's going to run out, so I'm going to grab something really quick.
If any of you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat now. We've only got about 10 more minutes before we must depart from this moment with Darling Nooch. I do want to say, guys, that this book is really good, and I'm not just saying that because we're friends or whatever. There's some really like how you've seen how Nooch has been all hour, like the things that she just comes out are like super profound. You're gonna find that throughout the book. Yeah, so wasn't she talking about paradox? There was, oh my gosh, there's just
There we
some
go.
really creative. Oh God, yeah.
No,
Like,
I would say, Jenna, in the book,
mm,
I think that all magic's based on intention. And I kind of like beat a dead horse with that throughout the book. But it is that important. So no, you wouldn't just do a ritual. You would know, what do I want? What am I asking for? What am I able to hear now? So this isn't about you playing God. This is about you opening up to the source of God. So I would say, no, you pretty much do know what you would like to really receive one way or the other, but then also not be attached to the outcome, and
so what about like I think too, like a follow-up question of this is like like playing by hand or going by instinct. Like if someone wants to create a ritual, is maybe either one better than the other, or is that just a personality choice? Like I'm just gonna riff, like whatever, like this is gonna be my ritual, or I need to have kind of something ahead of time.
oh, any of those work as long as you're grounded and you're working in love, because otherwise you're going to trip yourself up.
There you go. Oh yeah. So hey, Christine is here. Hey, Christine. Good to see you. I didn't think you were gonna show up, but you're here. Yay. So yeah, Jonathan just ordered the book. Woohoo! We got one sale.
All
Right. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I was talking about just how just so creative you are. Like honestly, I love the mind gripe ritual.
Oh my God,
Like the
that's
name
so
of it is
intense.
just so provocative, and I love that. And because it's like it's about expressing and releasing distractions for a sense of unity and focus before the main group activity. So like you see all the stuff you're griping about. Like let's like it's like you're like, oh, the thing that could be a problem to the big ritual, we're gonna make a ritual out of that too.
Right. Exactly.
I just love that. It's so
And
clever.
it's that paradox. The biggest paradox of all is human and spirit. We are a walking paradox. So the mind gripe thing is so beautiful because I hand out index cards. We're going to do a workshop, but first, let's all get on the same page. Well, we're all there. You think everyone's there. No, we're not. Three-fourths of us is somewhere else. So the index is like, just give me 5 things that your little mind's running on right now that has nothing to do with this workshop, or maybe everything to do with this workshop. Like, oh God, this teacher's full of themselves, or I didn't know we would just have hard chairs. I wish I would have slept in the hotel last night. It's like just gripe. And then I pull all the index cards, turn the lights down low, tell everyone to look at the set, feel that they're throwing things into the center. And then I start reading. And some of the things that come up are so beautiful. Like, can I get my dad into the care unit? Like, you're really hearing what humans struggle with, not just bitch.
Yeah.
And yet still to let that open and let spirit take over is just, I just love that. And there's something with a group, and it just makes it way more powerful to be
and
vulnerable.
it's beautiful. It's like you're taking things that people kind of low key maybe feel ashamed about. Like here I am complaining about in my head when I should be here. And you're like, not only am I accepting it, I'm actually making it sacred. And then using that as a device to get us all where we need for the main show. Do you know how fucking brilliant that is? I mean, I don't know if you know. I'm telling you, that's brilliant.
Thank you. Do you know one of the best compliments ever I got from the first book? I will see what happens with this one, but the first one was a friend of mine is a psychotherapist, and she has no interest whatsoever in tarot, but she loves the hell out of me. So she read the book, and she said, Nooch, this is just about being a good human. And I went, oh, That's everything. That's everything. Tarot is trying to make us a loving human. Tarot gives us full permission to be fully human,
Yeah.
not just the part that's accepted or approved of or seen a certain way. Screw that shit. It's hard being human, but it's, to be fully human is divine. It's divine to be fully human. Like
Yes.
a lot of religions to me and everything are about can't wait till we die so we can be divine. Oh, this part, the bad part, and it's like, really? Did I spend this much time to incarnate so that I can wait for the next train out? Jesus, what's that about? God,
Yeah.
So I
That
tell
was
people,
like,
leave the train station for God's sakes. Walk around,
right. I think that what you just said was probably the number one reason why I left Christianity entirely, which is like, I shouldn't feel bad for having this embodied human experience. I don't want to get away from it. I'm not trying to leave it. I'm not trying to feel bad about it. That what if it itself is sacred? And it is.
That's right. That's right. And I'll tell you, if someone tells me that their body is a meat puppet, I tell them, you need to pay me $5 because it's really hard. It's work to listen to this.
You're causing me labor right now. Just
I know.
Like, your bullshit.
Ouch! I need 2 zeros after that.
Oh man! Well, Marion, she's gonna buy a book. We got 2 sales. Yeah, yes. Oh gosh.
Now, when does your book come out, Jenna?
Next November. And it's the same name as this little show that I'm doing. Will you give me a reading? So it's all about how to be a good reader for others.
Wow. So you already finished it and put it out there to the publishers. They have it.
Yeah, I just sent it. Well, it was a couple days late. I was like, oops. Like, the final manuscript, after I revised it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's done. Just waiting for the cover to come through, waiting for the pre-sales. But yeah, it's all around,
I can't wait. I can't wait to read your book. You are, I don't meet many full-time readers. I don't. There's a lot of part-time readers. There's nothing wrong with that. Full-time are not better than anyone else. However, they're rare.
Yeah.
Like they're actually making a living.
Yeah.
As a full-time reader. And I don't care if it's 6 figures. Shit. I know 5 figures I'd be real happy with. Like, what I don't need 6, but I can't wait because your book comes from real trench tarot stuff.
Yeah, it's like I've probably easily done 15,000. I mean, I could probably actually sit down and do the math, but yeah. And that there is even now I'm in my 11th year of full-time reading. And even now, shit keeps unlocking. I'm like, oh my God.
Totally. That's why I love it so much. Tarot is so cool that way.
I do. I love it too. I love tarot.
Do though, I realized something over the last few years is I'm actually not a tarot reader who reads energy. Mm-hmm. I'm really an energy reader who uses tarot. Because when I put myself to crystals or some other forms, it works. And I'm like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I'm just emphasizing tarot. That's actually not the gateway drug to me. The gateway drug was the energy.
Of course. Someone who's so somatically based, that makes 110%.
Absolutely.
And I love what you're doing here because I think a lot of readers are very much up here and not enough down in here. Myself, I am also very guilty of that. So having things that really where there's an embodiment action happening.
Right. Or even a human, just that human element. Yeah. Don't go into that divine, pure white space of, I don't get dirty. It's like, babe, yeah, maybe after you die, but not right now. Like,
You're like in the trenches. Like Christine, yeah, Christine Gordon is also a full-time. She's a full-time reader as well.
Yeah.
She's but yeah, tarot. Yeah, for me, tarot's like there's barbed wire right above me, and there's like mud, and I'm like trying trying to get through. Like, and someone's probably shouting at me, "Go, go, go!" I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'm going." Oh shit! Now I gotta climb that shit. Oh man, yeah. Dirty. It's messy. It's beautiful. It's paradoxical, and
Yeah.
it's
Always changing. Always. It's dynamic.
yeah.
It's a dynamic art. It does not stick.
Nope.
It's not stagnant. If it's stagnant, you need to put them down for a while.
Yes.
Do something else.
Yeah, you got to go windsurfing or something for a while. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But
Or just sit by a tree.
Oh man. Well, we are at time.
All right, baby.
Are you feeling like no pressure, but are you feeling like to go to Instagram for a little bit just to say hey?
Yeah, let's try it. I'm gonna have to set up a little bit, but let's do it.
Okay, so you live people, we're actually gonna move to my Instagram live now that's working, and we're gonna continue this conversation for a little bit. So if you can head on over, if you are live, it's just my account, which is my name, Jenna Matlin. Otherwise, if this is the end of the road for you and us this week, thank you so much for coming. A round of applause. Thank you, Nooch, for coming. And then next week, I am going to be doing just super sweet, super easy little readings for you using the Seed and Sickle Oracle.
Ooh, Lordy.
Oh, yeah. These are really awesome. They have two books. They have one card and two books. One book is the dawning function, and then the other book is the dusk function on the same card. Yeah, it's really neat.
Oh,
it's nice. Super, yeah. Like I know you'd be. So we're gonna do that next week. I hope you can tune in Wednesdays at 3 Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, February is gonna be a bunch of really cool stuff. They're gonna do some love readings. I'm gonna talk about how to use tarot for feng shui for the Chinese New Year. So I hope you tune in. But until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.